Training.com, CWI prep course. Come visit us at our website at train-eng.com, pronounced training. This is our CWI prep course. This is as you go through some of these videos, these will be some snippets or samples out of our online training course. If you like what you see here in the sample section, come and visit us and take the course. Unlike a lot of other programs, we've got it set up so that you can do it a la carte. If you only need to, we've got different parts of the CWI course broken out. So if you don't need to sit through and take safe practices for welding inspectors, or you have some strengths that you know of and you want to streamline the process and only hit the sections where you don't really have a strong background or a great deal of proficiency, our program is set up so you can take some of these parts of the CWI online course a la carte. Pick and choose, put together what you want. Leave the rest, like a Chinese food buffet. CWI prep course, round-off convention, module 7, part 4. Learning objectives, round-off convention. In many cases, large, cumbersome, accurate decimal value is not necessary. In cases where less accuracy, fewer digits to the right of the decimal point will do, you may round off of the decimal. So like if we're figuring out the area of a circle, pi is an infinite number. I just read on Google where they calculated it out to like 2 million places or 2 billion places or some god-awful sum of numbers, right? Because they could with computers. For you and I, we don't need that much. 3.14 is close enough, or 3.141 is about as far as you're going to need to go. For most people, maybe you're shooting something to the moon, you need to go, out to take pi out to 10 digits. But for most part, 3.14 is close enough. And I'm just using this as an example, and it's just what degree of accuracy you need. And then it's going to tell you, what you need to do from there. Previous example, this would be slide, rounding pi. 3.14159265359. Most of us 3.14, close enough. After that, you're picking the fly feces out of the pepper, for what we're doing. Some things you might need an extreme amount of precision, but this is where we get into rounding. So you just drop those other digits. The 1 is smaller than 5, so everything to the right just goes away. Reducing to lower terms is known as round off, or simply rounding. When dealing with decimal fractions, it is desired to reduce 6.3000 to lower terms. We may simply drop as many zeros as necessary, since it is the equivalent to dividing both terms by the fraction of some power of 10. Thus we see that 6.3000 is the same as 6.300 as 6.30 or just 6.3. So this is the start of rounding. But you can see we can drop significant figures. But here there's no numbers involved there. It's just zero, so we can just simply drop it. So we're reducing it to a lower term. Rounding off numbers. When a digit dropped is less than 5, the last digit retained remains unchanged. For example, 6.582 becomes 6.58. When the digit dropped is 5 or greater, the last digit is retained. The last digit retained is increased by 1. So if you have 6.585, that becomes 6.59. So if it's less than 5, you round down. If it's greater than 5, you round up. The following examples illustrate the rule for rounding off. 0.1414 rounded to the thousandths is 0.141. 3.147 rounded to the tenths is 3.1. We just dropped that 0.47. 475 rounded to the nearest hundred is 500. Observe carefully that the answer to example 2 is not 3.2. Some people make the error of treating the rounding process as kind of a chain reaction, in which the one's first rounds 3.147 to 3.15 and then rounds 3.15 to 3.2. The error of this method is apparent when we note that 147 divided by 1,000 is closer to 100 than it is to 200. So don't do the chain reaction. Make sure you're right where you need to be. If it's telling you to round to the nearest hundredth, you go back one. You go to the right one digit, you look at that. If it's greater than 5, you round up. If it's less than 5, you round down. As long as you're dealing with whole numbers and or decimals, you can use some basic steps to determine how to round a given number. These steps are given here. Remember that you will be rounding to the nearest number. The theory is that if several numbers are rounded, some will go to the higher number, while some will go to the lower number, rounding down. If all the original unrounded numbers were added together and rounded, the result should be about the same as the sum of the rounded numbers. I poached this from a military manual, but basically what it's saying is law of averages is going to work out, so you round some numbers up, some numbers down, and it's all going to come out in the wash. I know there's a mathematician somewhere probably just screaming at my engineer slash weld inspector version of math, but that's my take on it. First thing you're going to want to do when you're rounding to the nearest number or the value to a value, you're going to follow these steps. Determine the place you want to round to. Is it tenths, hundredths, etc.? And call it the place value to be retained. You're going to locate the digit in the place value, and this is called the digit to be rounded. Either leave that digit unchanged, round down, or increase that digit by 1 by rounding up following these rules. Okay, so you're going to find your number, the digits that you're going to round, directly to the right of that digit. You're going to locate the digit directly to the right of the digit to be rounded. If that digit is less than 5, a 0, 1, 2, 3, or 4, leave the digit to be rounded unchanged. It doesn't go anywhere. If the digit is 5 or more, that is a 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9, increase the digit to be rounded by 1. So we'll do an example. So we're going to round 28.034697 to the nearest thousandth. Okay, so what is the digit place to value to be retained? So we're going to go out, we're going to start at 28, and then we're going to that point. Then it's going to be tenths, hundredths, thousandths. So that 4 in the red square is going to be our thousandths. So based on the information in B, that our 4 is going to be rounded, we're going to use the 6 to decide if the 4 is going to be retained as a 4 or if it's going to increase by 1. So I got a little arrow there. If the digit, that blue guy, the 6, it's not less than 5. So we don't leave the 4 alone. It is the digit is 5 or more, so we're going to increase the digit to be rounded by 1. So you can see we're going to take the 4 and it's to be rounded by 1. It's going to increase by 1 because the 6 is greater than 5. So that's going to tell us that's the one that determines whether or not we go up or stay the same. So it's a 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9. We're going to go up. That 4 in the little red box is going to become a 5. Okay, so we took our 4 and we turned it into a 5. Once you have rounded up or down, drop all of the digits to the right of the place value to be retained, the rounded digit. So our 5 our 4 became a 5, we're going to get rid of everything in that blue box. The 697 is going to go away. We had increased the 4 to a 5. Those others are going to go away. You can see here we've got 28.035. We dropped everything to the right of the 5 after we moved that 4 from a 4 to a 5. So that's how you do rounding. That's an example. Summary. We covered rounding off and we did a couple of examples. Our CWI, CWE online Part A video course, $149. It's self-study CWI exam. Everything's an online video course. We've got one section where it's questions, questions, and more questions. We've got a whole number of CWI self-study question bank, $40. Come on in, take it, take a look, see. If you just need questions, if you sat through another course and you just want to keep hitting the material, check out our question bank, $40.